To many listeners of WOGL-FM, one of the saddest moments in Philadelphia radio each week comes at about 11:57 on Sunday night, as DJ Harvey Holiday calls the group The Spaniels to sing Good Night, Sweetheart, because it signals the end of another of Holiday's signature broadcasts, Street Corner Sunday.
98.1 WOGL, Philadelphia's greatest hits with Double H on the Master Blaster. I make the workday go faster. Is that true?
Yeah! Many listeners wish the broadcast could go on and on and on. When Holiday started Street Corner Sunday in 1989, it ran from 7 until midnight, later getting trimmed back to 3 hours of doo-wop harmony, relished by devout listeners. During a career in broadcasting that has spanned over 50 years, that's half a century, Holiday has amassed more vowels and consonants than Vanna White. WYNS, serving the Allentown, Pennsylvania area. WRAW, Reading. WAAT, Trenton. WMID, Atlantic City. WSAR, Fall River, Massachusetts, and WHAT, WDAS, WFIL, WPGR, WIOQ, and WOGL in Philadelphia. His varied, diverse experience has seen Holiday serve as DJ, program director, and research director. He ventured into television to do 4 oldie shows for NJN New Jersey Network.
Harvey Holiday, Street Corner, singing live, and so far so good.
And has also appeared on QVC, where he pitched enduring oldies memorabilia. He's been broadcasting for more than 50 years, and he's still going strong. Harvey Holiday may in fact be becoming an oldie, but he's definitely a goodie.
Across the windows there is an engineer. And my engineer is watching television and reading a book. Could you give me a new temperature, please? Gave me the peace sign, half of it anyway. It's Holiday till 12 o'clock tonight. It's hard to get oldies. You can get them at the Record Museum at 1005 Chestnut. Just ask for Joe. Tell him Holiday sent you. He'll take good care of you. The brand new store at 1521 Chestnut. All the brand new stuff. The new Aretha album. You name it, they've got it. We're at the Record Museum. There's a lot of them.
Please welcome Harvey Holiday into the Broadcast Pioneers Hall of Fame.
Thank you. I got 50 years to cover. I negotiated 5 minutes with Jerry, but I'm not real good at timing, so I bought my own timer. Timer, are you ready? And he's going to give me a 2-minute warning. Now, not only am I honored to receive this award from the Broadcast Pioneers, but there's also a Sixer game on TV tonight, and it gave me a reason to leave the house not to watch the game. So it's very special. Anybody see Jimmy Fallon tonight? Because usually when I get an award, he comes down from New York to congratulate me. As a matter of fact, I got a plaque on Broad Street. I'm in the Walk of Fame also, another great honor. And somebody said, the chances of a Philadelphia team winning the championship while you're alive are slim. But at least you'll know they're going past your plaque when they have the championship parade on Broad Street. Congratulations to the fellow inductees, Bob Pantano, the Man of the Year, Mr. South Philadelphia. And don't forget the woman behind the man, Debbie Pantano. Give yourself a nice hand. I got a roll. I got a lot to go. But I want to do it quick. The Broadcast Pioneers did a tour of WOGL this summer, and the second group in was leaving, and I noticed a man stayed behind. He had the look into his eyes of a man who loved being in a radio studio. I said, Tom, come on behind the mic. And it was Tom Moran, and he walked around, and his daughter took a picture of Tom and I, and she said, as they were leaving, he didn't think you would know who he was. And I laughed because I know who everybody on radio was in the 50s and 60s. My mother listened to the radio, Uncle Phil Sheraton in the morning on WFIL. I didn't really get into it, but I noticed how happy she was and how she loved singing along with those Perry Como records. Later, she loved Ken Garland. That was her favorite. I think she liked him more than me. And she listened to Bud Breeze at night. Anybody remember Bud Breeze? He was the singing DJ. And I never really realized the impact of radio until I heard Long John Nebel on WOR, one of the first talk shows all night long. And the subject then was not politics, but UFOs. He would interview people who went up in spaceships, sometimes to Venus. They would get a letter. This is the truth. Look, you can Google it. They would get a letter, be somewhere at a certain time, and the spaceship would pick you up and take you for a ride. And I was like 11, 12, and I was in bed. My eyes were wide open. I was holding on to the bed because 2-minute warning already? Holy moly. So it ended up that I was scared, but then I said, I gotta have one of these spaceships go, because I realized everybody came back safe and they got to be on the radio. But when I fell in love with radio is when I heard High Lit on WHAT, the Rock and Roll Kingdom. I was 12 years old. I knew exactly what I wanted to do the rest of my life. I heard Georgie Woods on WDAS from 7 to midnight. Nobody had more fun than Georgie. And at 11 o'clock on WCIM, I heard a guy named Pat Delsey had a slow theme song of Night Train, and he played all the early rock and roll. So they were my heroes. I remember the first time I heard There Goes My Baby, like we remember when Kennedy was shot. Georgie Woods, 6:30 Saturday. I was in Camden, New Jersey. One day I pulled up in front of my house. It was noon. Bill Wright was on the radio. He was going to introduce a new Roy Orbison record, and I couldn't turn it off because the way he was going to introduce it. That's the first time I heard, "Oh, Pretty Woman," Rebel Wright. You're the man. Thanks to those DJs and others, radio became my passion. Many things have changed. In the beginning, we sang along with the records. I love singing along with Little Richard and Chuck Berry. We don't do that anymore. We used to play records twice. We used to say, "So nice, let's play it twice." We don't do that anymore. Of course, Jerry Blivett still sings along with the records. When we started out, when you pay to be on the radio, you can do what you want. When I started out, I played records, card CDs. Take it easy. Card CDs, now everything is digital on the computer. Things have changed in radio. But I'll tell you what hasn't changed. The power of radio to affect people's lives. I don't care what kind of music you play. I don't care what your ratings are. Every time you turn that microphone on, you can take somebody, you can talk to somebody that's having a bad day, and you can make it better. Every time you play a song, you can make a memory. You know, you hear a song, you think of your mom, your dad, your children. I can't hear Ray Charles without thinking of my buddy Eric Porter and Joel Dorn, who on WHAT FM at midnight played 3 hours of Ray Charles. I can't play Gladys Knight without thinking of my mom, because my mom loved Gladys Knight. Memories, that's what radio's about, the power of radio, reaching people. Who remembers Saturday afternoon driving to the shore, listening to the Beach Boys? Every time you hear your Rolling Stones song that you love, you remember the first time you heard it because of the way Pierre Robert introduced it. When you hear the name Don Cannon, you remember that bit he did years ago that still makes you laugh. When you hear Casey and the Sunshine Band, you think of the good times you had at the Bob Pantano dance party. Radio affects people. I'm going to give one example. A lady drove from Reading to the hospital in Philly. Her mom was dying of cancer 3 days a week. She wrote me a letter. She said, the only good thing about that ride was listening to you and your music. That's the power of radio. Am I right? All right, let me sum up here. I worked for 2 great radio stations, WDAS for 15 years. It was unbelievable, and this is the truth. I could open the door to my office, and coming down the hall could be the Jackson 5, Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, Dr. Martin Luther King, James Brown, and Jerry Wilkinson. Am I right? Finally, whenever I think I'm all that in a Big Mac, I get up on Sunday morning, I put on Talk Radio 1210, they have one music show, and the guy only plays one artist. And after he does one break, I say, oh, that's how you do it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a legend, as Frank Sinatra said, who lives among us, the great Sid Mark. Think about this. He's been on the radio since 1957. Sid Mark, if you want to hear radio, and by the way, he never hits the post. He is absolutely the best. We should build a statue to him. And there's only one way to finish up a speech at the Broadcast Pioneers Dinner, in my opinion, and that's with the words of John Facenda. Have a nice night tonight and a good day tomorrow. Good night, all.